Some new information has just dropped regarding the DLC, and there is a move confirmed to be returning that could flip the meta on its head. Alright guys, so some stuff has come out about the DLC. We'll touch on a couple things here, but basically what's happened here is some outlets in Japan have basically, given us some information in regards to the upcoming DLC. As I said at the start, we have some new moves coming back. You can see them here. We will touch on them very shortly. But we also have a couple other things as well that are pretty interesting. First of all, there's a new mini game that will allow us to, I believe, rewards us Terra Shards, which is kind of cool. It also looks like there will be new items as well coming in. Hopefully they are battle related. But obviously the main thing we're here for are the 5 returning moves that have been confirmed. Now, look, I'm not going to lie, 4 of these moves are kind of whatever. I'll quickly just pull up Centra here, actually. I do think it's better to have a look at here. So, you see here, they make a post saying, new TMs in the Teal Mask, Toxic's returning, more new moves at Grassy Glide, Burning Jealousy, Lash and Poltergeist. Now, look, I have kind of waited out now. I've just been waiting for, maybe Centra to give us a bit more information. Unfortunately, they've not leaked anything else. I'm going to go with this for now. I do think that this is official information that has been revealed, obviously, through, outlets in Japan. I don't think this is a leak where Centra has got their hands on some, hidden information. But basically, looking at these new moves here, I don't think Toxic will affect VGC at all. Maybe, you'll see it on ladder. You'll never see it in serious play. Grassy Glide, we'll touch on in a second. Burning Jealousy is kind of cool. Obviously, it depends who gets it. It could be something, kind of cool maybe on things like Chi-Yu, but I do think it's a bit hard to, justify going for something like Burning Jealousy, especially when you have options like Flamethrower, Heat Wave, Overheat, stuff like that. Lash Out is actually kind of cool, right? So if we have a look at some of the returning, not some of the returning ones, some of the ones that had it in the past, the first one that kind of stuck out to me actually was Bishop. This is a mon where, like, obviously Bishop's not the Bishop's not the mon I'm kind of saying like, hey, it would be good on. It's evolution, right? It's King Gambit. So basically, 2x power if the user had its stats lowered this turn. This could be really, really good with something like Intimidate. Yeah, it's like, hey, you've got Landorus. I'm waiting. I dare you to try lower my attack. Catch him on a switch in. +1, 150 base power would be kind of insane. Outside of this, though, I don't really know who else is going to want to run something like Lash Out. At least not off the top of my head. Like, have a quick look here. Is there anything returning? Like, Broom's not going to do it. I mean, Torn's not going to do it. Yeah, that's like... Look, there probably isn't anything that's going to run Lash Out, let's be honest. Poltergeist is another interesting move. Obviously, Poltergeist is a really strong ghost move that's coming, potentially coming into the game. The issue is, as you see here, nothing good actually learns it. Like, we look at the attack stats, like, no one's running Delmise. Lola Marowak's not in the game. It's not a good move. And I don't really think there's any ghost types coming back that can really abuse it. I guess the main guy you'd want to look out for is like, hey, is this where they finally say, you know what? We're going to give this to Dragapult. Maybe it was like, hey, we didn't give it to Dragapult in Gen 8 because we thought it was going to be busted. Turns out it probably needs a Ghost Stab move. But look, regardless, what is it? I think it's 110 with 90 accuracy, if my memory serves me correct. Yeah, 110, 90 accuracy. I guess the other big question with this, and I don't know this off the top of my head, does booster energy technically count as being consumed when you get it right? Because even, for example, something like Brambleghast getting this could also be kind of big. So that's a big question I have is like, say, for example, I'm going up against a Flutter main. If they're like booster special attack, for example, can I Poltergeist them or not? Like, is the boost energy still there, but it's just been activated? Like, I don't know that mechanic there. So that would be definitely interesting to, I guess, see if like someone like Dragapult did get it, how booster energy would affect it. And I guess quickly too, before I jump into Grassy Glide, because obviously I think that's the main reason we're all here, I'll just quickly touch on Burning Jealousy as well. For those who don't know what this is, it's just a 100% burn if you like lower their, if their stats get raised. 70 base power though, it's probably not worth it. Yeah, like I think maybe it's only worth it if like you're about to activate like Define or something. So yeah, maybe that's like a use case for it. But yeah, look, I don't think it's going to see too much play. But obviously, the move of the hour here, it's the move that this whole video is basically based around here, and that's Grassy Glide. Now, for those who don't know, Grassy Glide by itself really isn't all that. Like, if you quickly like look at the mons that get this, for example, right? Like, obviously, this is Nat Dex as well, by the way. So, like, this is kind of everything. Let's just filter by attack stat. Like, Surfetched, yeah, not bad, doesn't get stabbed. Mega Abomastone's not in the game. Delmire's, like, again, not a good mon. Serena, maybe getting it could be cool, like, if you pair them together. But yeah, look, there's not like, maybe Hisuian, again, like, the main issue with this move, right, is the fact that Grassy Glide actually, like, it needs the terrain to be good. So, it did just get its base power nerfed as well, which I think is something to keep in mind. It just went from 70 to 60. But obviously in terrain, it does gain +1 priority, which basically on Rillaboom being, the main terrain setter is pretty freaking broken, especially when, you've just got like these really nice stats. So what I want to do here is pull up a damage calculator and we'll kind of look at, I guess, why I do think this stuff is going to be pretty busted. So as you can see here, I do have just a really quick calc. I have slapped Grassy Glide on this. We're adamant and... Oh, shit, that was a spoiler. I shouldn't have had that there. Yeah, so this is just what I assume will probably become the standard Rillaboom. I should actually probably just start with why I think this will be like... Not the standard, but definitely a good place to start. So, as we're all aware, Fluttermane has been like the best Pokemon for all of Scarlet and Violet. You know what, actually, I'm just going to quickly pull up this as well. So here's actually the usage stats from Worlds. Just want to double check. Yeah, you guys see all that fine. So basically, usage stats at Worlds here, you see the top 2 mons with Fluttermane and Urshifu, which is going to be very, very important. Number 4, Chanpao is also pretty damn important. So the main reason I bring that up here is we go back to our damage calculator. So we see this guy, this is the Fluttermane here. This is basically your standard Fluttermane, right? This Fluttermane's whole like purpose is to say, hey, I'm just going to live Ice Spinner from Chanpao. A couple other things as well it wants to live, yeah. So all of a sudden you look at this, you're like, all right, Grassy Glide, does 74%. That's not too bad. I am Miracle Seed as well, by the way. I should probably add that. But when we click this little button here, 100%, man. 100% of the time, I'm one-shotting that Fluttermane, which is actually really crazy, right? This mon, all of a sudden, paired up with Chanpao, has the ability to straight up just check Fluttermane. And the main issue Fluttermane's going to find, right, is, like, its best defensive Terra for a long time has been Terra Water, right? 2 main reasons. 1, it allows you to eat that Ice Spinner we just touched on. But 2, it also helps you eat the Surging Strikes coming from the Urshifu Rapid Strike, right? So they're the 2 main things that, like, you really want to Terra Water for. All of a sudden, you can't go Terra Water because, obviously, bang, you're getting sent to the Shadow Realm, yeah? Like, even if this thing's -1, even if this guy, like, what if I take your Miracle Seed away? Are you still just getting one-tapped? Yeah, even at -1, you're still getting one-tapped with Chanpao. If Chanpao's not there, -1, you're going to live. But again, I don't think that's going to be a thing, right? Like, let's be honest, people aren't going to go Terra Water and just rely on that being your way to basically live this, right? Like, even Miracle Seed, look at this. At -1, 116, dude, you're still, like, killing this thing. That's no Chanpao either, by the way. So, yeah, I do think Terra Water is about to drop off on Fluttermane. And it's really interesting to think what Fluttermane's Terra is going to be going forward, right? Because there's a couple things to look at, right? Obviously, we touched on some leaks yesterday in regards to, the potentially, new ones coming into the game. Basically, the Loyal 3 are all believed to be poison types. I don't know if that's technically 100% confirmed, but everyone's almost certain, like, hey, these 3 are all going to be poison types, right? So instantly that makes me think, well, it probably doesn't want Terra Grass because of the poison types. Obviously, Grass, isn't also good into Chanpao. It is nice, obviously, into things like Amoonguss and Urshifu. But then it's like, okay, well, you got to start looking at other options, right? It's like Terra Steel good. I even, one of my mates even said Terra Dragon. So all of a sudden, Fluttermane's Terra typing is not going to be as easy. Like, I personally think Fluttermanes are probably going to just start going back to Terra Fairy and just being super offensive. Especially too if, Rillabooms are running stuff like this where they're like dropping the AV. Because all of a sudden, you look at this damage here, right? This is just the booster set, right? What if I'm just like choice specs? Let's just go specs, right? Yeah, all of a sudden these Moonblasts are slapping. But also too, I think the mon that Rillaboom probably will have the most issue with going forward as well is going to be Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu obviously is really good at walling out, this set here in particular, especially if it's got no AV, it can just pick up a KO pretty damn quickly. But yeah, if you slap Beads of Ruin on there, there's a chance just to straight up kill that. But now that we have kind of touched on, I guess, the best Pokemon in the format being Fluttermane, the next guy to look at here is the second best guy in the format, which is, your Urshifu, right? Let's get rid of our -1 here. So yeah, you see that right there. Doesn't need that much investment to basically guarantee the one-shot here with Grassy Glide. And again, obviously, this isn't a guarantee. I do think things like Focus Sash obviously are about to pick up, especially on the Urshi. But all of a sudden, Urshifu does not want to be eating attacks from this, especially when, again, you slap Chanpao on that, bang, that's a one-tap. This is a mon that really, really liked running Choice Scarf and I really like running Terra Water. All of a sudden, I do think Rillaboom's just going to say, hey, like, you actually have to play a defensive Terra. You're going to have to go these Terra Poisons, these Terra Grasses. I do actually think Terra Grass will be, like, the go-to. Because, again, like, I think if you go, like, Terra Grass on this thing, right, what it does best is just, like, click Sword Stance. But also, if you have a look at this, all of a sudden, this mon does, like, no freaking damage. Even with, like, Chanpao on the board, it's like, I mean, that Woodhammer still actually slaps. But yeah, I do think, like, a bulky Urshi here with, like, Sword Stance is going to be the play. Especially too, because as I said, I think Fluttermanes are definitely going to adapt their sets, which will, potentially lead Fluttermanes to being, like, weaker to the Urshifu Rapids, right? And And again, look, I think Flutter Mane's going to be in a weird spot where there is no perfect Terra. I think its best Terra will probably become Terra Grass in terms of defensive Terras. But as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Terra Fairy did just like continue to rise up. But yeah, this Rillaboom mon, like it really is just pressuring some of the top meta threats, which is actually crazy. Obviously, you know, this is all my calcs here with Miracle Seed as well, right? Like if we just slap like Assault Vest back on this one, it is a bit different, but you are all of a sudden talking about a mon that really doesn't want to just, you know, sit in front of this, right? Like it didn't like Rillaboom as it was, but now it really doesn't like Rillaboom, right? Because it can't afford to get chipped down. Like any chip on this mon and Rillaboom is going to threaten a one-shot. You know, even without Qian Power. Like with Qian Power, it's going to threaten a one-shot, like from full HP. But yeah, with this, it's like, hey, not only do you have to outspeed me, like, you know, like, no, sorry, not only do you have to outspeed both my mons, but you're also in a position where it's like, hey, choice items probably aren't it. But then also something on your team is like still forced to switch into these attacks, right? So like Rillaboom with Grassy Glide, like obviously it's been a top meta threat in the past, but going forward, it is just going to get better. Another mon too that I actually like do really like this for is Ursaluna. Obviously, you know, a lot of people have had issues with Ursaluna Trick Room in the past, right? And the big thing with Ursaluna, right, is it's going to always try to protect, make sure it gets its, you know, its burn off. But normally you're going to get a bit of chip. But the issue I've always found with Ursaluna is that second half, right? That second half of its HP where it's like, all right, like, where am I finding this damage? How am I going to deal with this damage, right? And again, you look at this Grassy Glide being a guaranteed like 53% on max HP Ursaluna before anything, right? That's with AV as well, right? The second you throw on like a Miracle Seed, it's like, okay, 64, you throw in Qian Power, it's like, well, you'd want to hope you haven't taken 2 turns of burn or I'm going to one-shot you. So yeah, I think like not only is like Rillaboom stocks up, even like Qian Power stocks are about to be up as well, because I mean, look, it doesn't really have anything to do with the video, I guess, at least like what we're talking about here, but one thing a lot of people don't realize about Qian Power is it has Psychic Fangs, and like when you're talking about a mon like this, I think one of the best answers to Rillaboom is going to be Indeedee Female, right? Obviously, it has access to Rocky Helmet. It has Psychic Surge. Again, through being like a slower mon. Actually, that's the same speed. That's not ideal. Maybe you're going to have to run this slow just so you're not like speed tying with the Rillaboom, so your terrain goes off second. But obviously, follow me. Now, a big thing with Rillaboom, right, is it ignores like mons like Amoonguss. Yes, like Amoonguss has been the best redirector for the whole format, right? Like everyone knows, like this has basically been the whole format, yeah? Like, this is just what this guy's done the whole time. Grass types ignore Rage Powder, which means Rillaboom does not care about Amoonguss. So, a big thing going forward, I guess, is going to be Follow Me users, right? Because, these are the answers, right? That's what I'm trying to talk about here. I probably should have specified that. We're looking at what mons you need to use to answer Rillaboom or these, you know, but mainly Rillaboom, right? Obviously, Grassy Glide, but obviously Qian Power and stuff as well. So, you got to look at the Follow Me users, yeah? So, Clef's one of them. Another one is Mousehold. Another one is Baby Clef. And off the top of my head, I think that's it. Is there any other good Follow Me users here? I mean, like maybe Pachirisu, but I said good, so we won't go with that. Yeah, I think that's probably it, right? They're like your 4 main Follow Me users, yeah? Mousehold, I just don't think he's tanky enough to be the guy. Obviously, Frame Guard's nice, but again, if I'm going to run Frame Guard, I do think that, like, Clef is probably just better. But I guess the main issue here is, obviously, Clef can't really hold the Rocky Helmet, right? It wants to go for the Violet, which is why I do think Clefable actually might be the guy this gen, right? Because obviously, you know, you've got Rocky Helmet, yeah? Why can't I see Rocky Helmet? There it is, there, that one there. Yeah, so you got Rocky Helmet, and this mon, like, naturally, in terms of bulk, is actually, like, the bulkiest of these mons, yeah? It's got the highest HP and highest defense stat. Its main issue, obviously, is it doesn't have the terrain that Indeedee has. So not only does like Indeedee like block your priority moves, but it's also just like great at just rewriting the terrain, right? Stopping Rillaboom from going off. And again, you can kind of like use it in the back, swap it in, you know, and then look to pick up Chaos and Rillaboom there as well, which I do think will be very important. But these are definitely some of the mons I think will be best used to counter Rillaboom, right? Indeedee mainly, Clefairy and Clefable definitely have a chance. Mousehold is just Mousehold, right? This mon I think is always going to be good, right? It's a Follow Me mon with Super Fang, right? That's what this mon kind of does better than like all the other ones is like, hey, not only does it have redirection, but it has like really fast Super Fang, it has fast Taunt, right? Like it does a lot of cool things, yeah. But I definitely think these are going to be the mons we need to use to like answer Rillaboom. So I definitely expect to see these mons rise up. And one other really interesting thing too is I believe the DLC drops like 2 or 3 days before the Barcelona event, which means on Regulation D, there is going to be an event where Rillaboom has Grassy Glide. Assuming it gets Grassy Glide, but like it had it in the past, so I'm almost certain it's going to get it again. But yeah, dude, this mon right here is about to flip the meta on its head. I guess we just really got to pray that the new mons coming in can really deal with it, because obviously, you know, we've touched on the leaks, you know, on the channel in the past couple of days, but there are, you know, the Loyal 3, for example, are all supposed to be poison types, which means they're going to be 3 mons that could potentially switch in and tank, you know, the Grassy Glides. But I mean, you know, Rillaboom's got things like Stomping Tantrum and whatnot, dude. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy, guys. It's gonna be crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I guess before we end the recording, you know, what are the chances Centro just dropped some more info for us here? Yeah, and nothing else. But yeah, I guess if you guys are interested, go check this out. You know, Centro's had a couple things to say. I personally haven't seen exactly what was, I guess, officially revealed by like the company that's been doing it. Apparently, there's new like clothes and hair and stuff like that. I guess also before we dip as well, I'll quickly just show this. Someone here did ask, like, are they going to be, are these all the returning TMs? Sorry. And then Centro says, no, there's going to be dozens. And then obviously you see me here saying, like, you know, do we know how much else is returning? I just want to know how much else is returning. But everyone knows, big Rillaboom, guys. He's going to be the guy. He's going to be the baddest of them all in this upcoming format. I definitely think this is crazy because Rillaboom just straight up beats the top 2 mons in the meta right now. They're going to have to adapt. We could see Terrafire come out of the Flutter mains. Terrafire is not great, obviously, into Urshi, though. So, look, regardless, I'm super excited, guys. And yeah, that's going to be it for me for this one. Let me know down below what you think of Grassy Glide coming back, obviously, because it's going to definitely going to flip the meta on its head if you ask me. But anyway, guys, that's it for this one. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.